right, why are vegans turning back to eating meat? Like the big thing on the internet nowadays. I thought I'd wear my appropriate shirt. Oh, no, why are they doing that? Why are they doing that? All right, well, I will get to as many reasons as I can, because anybody who goes online to say, here's the definitive reason why vegans are turning back to eating meat. You can't just sum it up in exact reasons, because everybody's situation is different. Everybody's different, and there isn't one reason, but I'm going to outline as many of the big ones as possible. One of the big reasons people go vegan in the first place is because they don't want to kill animals as a source of food. And I agree, that is great, that is true, and I don't like the idea either of having to kill animals. And then there's those people that say, well, we're omnivores, we're supposed to eat all kinds of everything. True, our body can handle just about anything. There's a guy who ground up his car. He ground it into iron dust and ran it through his body over the course of a year or two, whatever it was. Just so he could say, I ran my car through my body. Now, does that mean it's good for you just because he survived that and he could? Our body is an amazing machine. It can run on almost any kind of fuel. It's survival mechanisms. If we were in the wild and we had to survive and there was nothing else but an animal, we could survive off of that. Now, does that mean we should do it every day, constantly for the rest of our lives, just because we're not in survival mode anymore? You could walk down the street, right on the corner, there's a store where you can buy fruits and vegetables easily. We're not in survival mode anymore. We don't need to have to do a lot of the things that we think we do. Plants can give us what we need. So yeah, the killing of animals is not necessary anymore. And yes, the mass industry of raising billions of animals just to be killed is bad for the environment. Yeah, I agree, but that's not what this video is about. This video is about why some vegans aren't healthy. That's what this video is about, and why many of them are giving up and going back to eating animals. Those of you who are asking that on my comment section in my website, why people are doing this, you're either one of two kinds of people. You either are new to my channel, in which case, welcome, or you just haven't been paying attention, because I've been saying this for 10 years now. I've been warning you guys about this. I've been saying this was going to happen, but people don't pay attention. When I wrote my book, Heal Yourself 101, I have a checklist in there, and I tell people what to do and why not to do and why to do it. You know, the thing about human nature is people, they only hear what they want to hear. They don't hear what they need to hear, and they selectively only do what they want to do, because people by nature are into comfort. They're into instant gratification, and they have the ability to be selective with what they do and don't do. So the first thing is, what do these people who are doing this, who are falling back, what is their interpretation of vegan? That is the most important question, where to start this whole thing, because there's as many interpretations of the word vegan as there are people on the planet. And I've been listing the main reasons over and over and over why I said people are not going to last eating this way if they do certain things, and why health problems are going to show up. So I'm going to address the different types of vegans, including what people think are the really healthy ones, the raw vegans. I'm going to get to those in a minute too. Now, obviously, there's junk food vegans who, just because they're eating, and I made a video said vegan does not necessarily mean healthy. Just because you're not eating animal products does not mean you're healthy. French fries and Cheerios and donuts are vegan, but that doesn't mean you're healthy. You know, bread, anything that's cooked in an oven to death. Now, those of you who know about me and what I'm about is raw food. And raw food is something that has not been cooked to death. A lot of vitamins are heat sensitive. They are destroyed at high heat. Heat turns fiber into simple sugars. There's so many things that heat does. It kills the food. If you take an apple and you plant it in the ground, you get an apple tree. If you plant a baked apple in the ground, what happens? Nothing. You get mold. It's dead. Heat kills the life force in the food. You need life force in your food. So there's junk food vegans. There are people who eat a lot of bread and pasta and cereal, stuff that's been baked to death, that's been cooked at high temperatures. That is dead food. It's not necessarily that when they go back to eating animals, that animals' food is good for you. I've been saying this all along. What's the one thing I said, how to heal anything? Over and over and over. It's not what you take, it's what you stop doing that heals the problem. right? So what are these people stopping doing? They're not eating the bread and the pasta and the refined carbs and the cupcakes and the crackers and all that stuff and the sugar and the refined carbs and the wheat products. They're not eating those anymore when they go over to the animal products because they're doing the paleo diet or the carnivore diet. What does the paleo and carnivore diet tell you to do? It tells you to eat the way caveman did. Caveman didn't have ovens. They didn't bake bread. They didn't make pasta. They didn't have crackers and cookies. They just killed animals, or they ate berries and stuff out of the ground, or apples off of a tree. That's what nature gave us. So the more you eat stuff that's closer to nature, yes, the healthier you will be. Now, people have taken it to the extreme of eating only animal products, which is like, that's like the most ridiculous thing. But the point is that what these people who got better stopped doing was eating the bad vegan crap that was making them sick in the first place. So it's not that the animal products are necessarily good for you. It's just that the vegan crap they were eating is no longer in their diet, so they started getting a little better. Now, it does not mean that animal products are more nutritious. Yes, they have amino acids, which makes protein, but so do plants. Animal products have some fatty acids, yeah, but they don't have flavonoids, polysaccharides, nucleotides, certain lipids, carotenoids, essential oils, glycosides, terpenoids, alkaloids, coumarins, saponins, tannins, phenols, quinines, phytosterol, camphenol, and many other primary and secondary metabolites. The minerals that plants suck up out of the ground and distill for you, and the freshly distilled vitamins that plants make, and most of all, fiber. Animal products have zero fiber. All animal products do is thicken the blood and raise blood pressure. Plants, on the other hand, have natural compounds that can thin the blood and lower blood pressure. What's amazing is what a lot of vegans call vegan is, fruitarians. They're sugar addicts. All they eat is sweet stuff. And this is the one thing over and over that I see in people doing is when they go vegan, or raw vegan or whatever, they always go for the sweet stuff. They always go for the mangoes and the fruit juice and the sweet smoothies and the raw vegan cheesecakes and all they do is sweet stuff. Everything they choose is sugar-based. They don't eat bitter things. Sugar knocks out your digestion. That's why you're not absorbing things in your body very well. Bitter stuff promotes digestion. It helps your stomach digest food. So these people that eat and are nutritionally deprived is because they're not. Why? Because they're not absorbing things into their body. Why are they not absorbing nutrients into their body? Well, for several reasons. One is because the stomach acid is knocked down. One of the main reasons is alkaline water, alkaline substances, calcium. Anything that is alkaline is going to knock out acid. It's the opposite of acid. You need stomach acid for several reasons, not just to digest food, to absorb nutrients. Your B vitamins can't absorb into your body without stomach acid, just like a lot of other vitamins. Then there's the probiotics, a major reason for health. Probiotics is 70% of your immune system. What's their main food supply? The main food supply of probiotics is fiber, raw plant fiber, not cooked plant fiber, because cooking or high heat breaks down fiber into simple sugars. Simple sugars give you energy, make you feel good, you feel great, you can run marathons and stuff like that, but it's not good for long-term health. Your long-term health comes from your gut flora, the bacteria in your gut. 5 pounds of bacteria that requires raw plant fiber. That's what they eat. We can't digest raw plant fiber. This is another thing that people misunderstand. The raw plant fiber isn't for us. It's for the probiotics, which coexist with us. They are the workers, and it's this beautiful, ingenious system that is designed so we get the nutrients, the vitamins, the minerals, and all the plant compounds that plants give us for energy and life, amino acids and all that. But the fiber goes through us and feeds the probiotics. Now, when we cook food, we're denying them their food source, and if you eat animal products, there's zero fiber in animal products, so you're totally denying So what happens? You start growing a different kind of gut flora, a different type of probiotic. Basically, the only kind that's going to survive or left over is the kind that, if all you're eating is meat and dead food, then the only kind of probiotics you're going to have left is the kind that lives off of that. And that's really not the kind you want. But that's usually what most people have. So when they switch over to a plant diet, they don't have the right probiotics for that, and then they start getting gas and things like that. It takes a while to switch it back to growing the right kind of. I talked about this in another video of mine, which I'm sure a lot of you haven't seen or paid attention to. But whatever you eat for 30 years, that's the kind of probiotics you're going to be growing. Now, if you're eating meat and dead food and crap and Pop-Tarts and bread and things like that, you're growing bad probiotics, which is not really healthy. They're selfish. They don't really help your health. They just kind of coexist with you. You need time to foster the right kind of probiotics that can handle plants. You need to baby them and grow them, and it takes time. Now, this is something that's kind of interesting, is people that switch over to vegan, people go, when I mention the junk food diet, when I mention the vegan junk food, people get defensive about that. They go, oh, well, the vegan hot dogs and the vegan hamburgers and the soy cheese and the soy this and the soy that and the isolated soy protein and all these things that look and taste like meat, but those are transition foods. Give these people a break. That's a transition food. If it means that they're transitioning to a healthier diet, if that's what they have to go through, then let them go through it and don't cut them down for that. Well, you know what most people do? They try vegan for a while, they eat the junk food, they don't feel better, they feel worse, and then they go, well, this isn't working, I'm going back to eating meat. They don't transition, they don't go, some people, very, very, very few do, they stick it out all the way through. But most people, they find out they don't feel better, and they go, well, this isn't working, I'm just gonna go back to eating my animal products and my ice cream and my butter and my artery clogging crap. So this isn't transition food. The junk vegan food is not transition food, really. It's a try vegan, see if it works. No, it doesn't. Let's go back food. So do it right from the beginning. If you're going to do something, do it right. That's why I wrote Heal Yourself 101. It's a free download. If you don't want the pocketbook, it's a free download online at healyourself101.com. And it has a checklist. It has a checklist of, are you doing this or this or this? Because it isn't as much what you take, it's what you stop doing that heals things. You need to stop doing certain things. People think fruit juice is healthy. That's what the first thing that people do when they go into vegan and raw vegan and all that. They do all kinds of fruit juice and they eat nothing but bananas and mangoes and all the sweet stuff. Again, that's a transition thing, right? Oh yeah, they're just transitioning to the more balanced foods that have bitter and greens and things like that. No, they don't. They stay with the sweet stuff. They're still hurting their digestion. By the way, this is like, what is one of the common things that people have when they eat vegan food that are going sick and that are having problems and going back? They're having digestive issues. They're having diarrhea, IBS, SIBO, all that stuff, where they basically got soup coming out of their rear end. Their digestive system isn't working. Why? Because their gut probiotics isn't working. Why? Because they have the wrong kind of gut probiotics. You could only grow the kind of gut probiotics that feed on the type of food you're eating. If you've been eating 20, 30 years of meat and refined dead foods, and that's the only kind of gut probiotics, you haven't given your body a chance to grow the right kind of gut probiotics. If you're eating lots of sugar and sweet stuff, what are you feeding? You're not feeding the gut probiotics. You know what you're feeding is yeast. Yeast grows on sugar. It thrives on sugar. You got two things in your gut. You got yeast, which is supposed to be a small amount, and then you have mainly gut probiotics. In a healthy world, in the right world, the gut probiotics, the yeast is actually a food source for the gut probiotics. But when you eat sugar and things like that, you're making the yeast overpower the gut flora, and now the yeast is in control, the gut flora is withering, and now the yeast starts going out through your whole body. It starts going out through your digestive system. The yeast knocks out the stomach acid in your stomach. The acid levels go down. Now H. pylori comes in, corkscrews itself into the walls of your stomach, emits alkaline substance, ammonia, which neutralizes stomach acid, and now you've got a real terrible situation, and then it just goes on and on from there. Now, yeah, of course, everything gets turned into glycogen and glucose, which is a form of sugar. Do not confuse concentrated too much of anything is bad. Concentrated, isolated sugar. Fruit juice is not as good for you. There's 22 grams of sugar in orange juice, a glass of orange juice. That's as much as a Coca-Cola. That's not good. Eating an orange is good. Eating whole fruit is good. Do not confuse eating a whole fruit with juicing a fruit. You see, nature's already got everything in perfection. There's a reason fruit has fiber. Fiber slows down the absorption of sugar. It regulates how quickly things go into your system, and it also helps clean out the bad stuff. Most people don't get enough fiber. They do fruit, but they don't do the greens enough. They do a tiny bit of greens. They generally stick with the sweet stuff. Most people do not do bitter things. If you were dropped in nature and you were forced to eat what was out in nature, Most of the stuff out there is bitter, and it's that way for a reason, because bitter cleans your digestive tract and it increases digestion and it increases the absorption of nutrients in your body. But we have lost touch with that. People who eat right, who eat healthy, bitter is not a bad thing. It's like, I can't stand it. If you've been doing bitter for a while and you're used to it and it doesn't taste bad, actually you start getting used to it and it becomes something that is okay. It's not a bad thing. You need bitter in your diet. You need, even monkeys know to eat half greens and half fruit. Yeah, they eat fruit, but they eat half greens too. Even monkeys know that. They're smarter than humans in knowing what to eat. Okay, let's say you're not a junk food person. Let's say you're not a junk food vegan. You say, I've been eating healthy. I've been eating raw food. By the way, almost everybody I've ever gone to that I visited, I went to their house, I went in their kitchen, I looked in their cupboards, I looked in their fridge, I looked in all the little nooks and crannies where they were hiding things, and guess what I found? Nobody is 100% perfect. Everybody cheats, everybody hides things. There's a little box of crackers in the corner, there's some soy cheese hiding in the bottom of the fridge, a bottle of wine hidden in the cupboard, some weed in the flower pot. Everybody cheats. Everybody does secret things. They cook food, they do things that, now I'm not saying once in a while it's bad, but if you do it, one drop of poison isn't gonna kill you. 2 drops of poison probably won't kill you. 10 drops of poison, or if you do the 1 drop every single day, over and over and over, guess what? It accumulates, and then bam, one day it's gonna catch up to you, and you're gonna go, oh, where did that come from? That's what those little cheat things are. They add up. It's not that one is bad for you, it's that people keep doing it over and over and over every single day. They do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, or they go, oh yeah, 1 donut's not gonna kill me, and they only do 1 donut every 6 months. Great. But the next day, they don't do a donut, they do a piece of pizza. And then the next day, they do a box of crackers. And then the next day, so they're not doing the same thing, but they're doing something every day that's bad. All right, I'm sorry I'm in this rant here, but I gotta just unload a whole bunch of stuff on this because you want the reasons, I'm gonna give you the reasons. So, next up is, what did I say 10 years ago? Let's say you are healthy. Let's say you are doing raw food. One of the first videos I did 10 years ago, even if all you did was go to the grocery store and eat and pick food from the produce section, fruits, vegetables, greens, all this stuff. Let's say you were being as good as you could, and that's all you did was eat fresh fruits, vegetables, and greens, nuts and seeds and things like that from the produce section in the grocery store, and that's all you did. And you still started having problems. I told you, you're still gonna have problems. Why? Because most of that food is grown in farm soil that's been depleted of nutrients over 100 years ago. All they put back in the soil is NPK, nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. That's all they put back in the soil. But there's hundreds of things that the soil needs. If you don't turn the soil over with decayed matter and fertilize it properly the way nature intended, you're not gonna get the nutrients in the food that you need. So first of all, the farm soil is basically depleted. Farmers are making almost no money nowadays. They have no money, so they're forced to do things as cheap as possible, and they don't put the nutrients back in the soil that they're supposed to. There's a war going on, people paying a penny per 100 pounds of potatoes or whatever it is because farmers are just so bad off. So anyway, the point is you're not getting the nutrients out of the soil. The plants that you're eating are not formed with the proper nutrients. Secondly, they pick these things unripe and they ship them across the country. Most plants do not get vitamins and the nutrients until the last minute when they're ripe. There's a reason for that. The plants do not want you to eat them until they are ready to be eaten. Birds don't eat fruit until it's ripe. There's anti-nutrients in the fruit that are actually bad for you if you eat them before they're ripe. Well, almost all fruit that you get at the store or anything in the store was picked unripe. Third thing is moisture is an oxidant. They pick these things and then they truck them across the country and they put them in warehouses, and then by the time you get it at the grocery store, it's already been picked like a week or two. Now I made another video that I'm sure a lot of you have missed or don't remember, and that is moisture is an oxidant. If you were to pick an orange off of a tree and eat it, you'd get the nutrition, and it was grown in proper soil and stuff, and it was picked ripe, then yeah, you'd be getting the proper nutrition. But the minute you pick something, it starts losing vitamins. Within 1 hour, half the vitamins are usually gone. Why? Oxidation. Water is an oxidant. It's one of the most powerful oxidants. and juice that's in the fruit, the stuff that we love, that juicy part of the fruit, starts oxidizing the vitamins. There was some university studies that tested oranges being sold in a grocery store and found they had no vitamin C left in them whatsoever. And part of the reason for that, other than the fact that they're grown in weak soil, is that they were picked a week or two ago, and as they were being trucked across the country and they were sitting on the shelf in the store, the moisture in that fruit was actually oxidizing the vitamins away. Most of the food that people eat, the stuff that they think is fresh fruit and vegetables, it's not really fresh fruit and vegetables. They're going to be lacking something. That's huge. That's a big factor. You need to supplement in order to fill in the blanks of what's been lost. Now, this is where a lot of the naysayers go, see, vegans need to supplement. Therefore, veganism is not the way to go because there's lacking in there. No, if you were eating the way nature intended, walking up to a tree, plucking it and eating it right away, you would not be lacking anything. If you pull a carrot out of the ground, it's got dirt on it, that's B12. You've got B12, you've got organisms. B12 is bacteria poop. In nature, you pick something out of the ground or off a tree, it's full of bacteria. You eat that, you're getting your B12. You don't have to kill animals to have B12. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of meat eaters out there who are B12 deficient. It's all over the internet, all right? They're no better or worse either way. And the ones that do eat meat that get B12, they're eating dirty, filthy meat that's contaminated with all kinds of bacteria. It's not the meat, it's the bacteria in the meat that's giving you the B12. But you can get the same thing from plants. Okay, if you're so worried about B12, then take a B12 pill, whatever, okay? But the point is that if you were living in nature, eating the way nature intended, just plucking a thing off a plant or a tree, you would be getting all the nutrition you need being a vegan. If somebody could pick that fruit and immediately freeze dry it or powder it, dry it in a dehydrator at low temperatures, that locks in the vitamins for up to 5 years. A dried and powdered orange, the nutrients, the vitamins, most of the vitamins will last up to 5 years, as opposed to a whole fruit that's being trucked across the country that's wet, that's got moisture in it. Now, let's say these people that say, oh great, well, I take the supplemental powders and I eat the fresh fruits and vegetables and I am a raw vegan, I do, and I still had problems. Why is that? Well, why is that? Because you're not absorbing nutrients. Why are you not, if you're putting the nutrients in your body and you're getting all the nutrients you need in your mouth and swallowing, but you're not getting better, that means that the nutrients are not absorbing, right? Well, I already mentioned that earlier. There's several reasons why they're not absorbing. A, your stomach acid isn't strong enough. And why is stomach acid not strong? Well, alkaline water, calcium supplements. Stress is a huge one. Several of the raw vegan, more well-known personalities on the internet who are having issues and went back to trying fish and eggs, they also were promoting alkaline water. Alkaline water knocks out stomach acid, so now you cannot digest the nutrients in your body properly. So you can have the best nutrients in the world going into your body, but if they're not absorbing into your system, then you're not going to have health. There's a lot of reasons why this stomach isn't going to digest and break. Sugar. Sugar is a huge one. Bitter helps digestion. Sweet sugar knocks out digestion. You need bitter foods. You need bitter things. Bitter greens. What's an example of bitter? Dandelion. That's a great one. That's really bitter. Watercress. Watercress is great. I made videos 10 years ago showing people, go out in your yard, go out in the neighborhood and find dandelions, find burdock, thistles, red clover, whatever it is that's growing wild that you recognize, everybody knows what it is, and eat it. Because why are wild plants, okay, this is something, all right. This is the big thing. I said this from the beginning. I made a video 10 years ago saying why organic is not as great as versus wild, because wild plants are not grown on a farm. They are grown in nature and they do not get watered every day. They're not wimpy. They have to grow roots. Red clover grows roots 124 feet down, 124 feet underground. That's, what is that? 40 meters underground. That's the length of a house. That's how deep the roots go from some of these wild plants, because they have to look for water and they go through virgin soil. They go through stuff that hasn't been touched forever since the dinosaur days, and they pick up all the nutrients that's rich in the soil, everything. The flavonoids, the glycosides, the terpenoids, alkaloids, the coumarins, the saponins, the tannins, the phenols, the essential oils, the quinines, the phytosterol, the vitamins, the minerals, everything is being sucked up through these roots. These wild plants are 1,000 times more nutrient dense than anything you buy in the grocery store that was grown on a farm. I've told you guys this years ago. I said, go out there in your neighborhood and pick pick it and use it. And then I wrote a book. I wrote a book showing people how to do this. It's the world's top edible plant guide, the free food and medicine edible plant guide. It shows people how to recognize the wild plants growing in their area, how to pick them, how to prepare them, and stuff like that. EdiblePlantGuide.com. I'm telling you, go get your own. You don't have to buy a product. You don't have to buy my powders. Go do it yourself. The only reason I made my powders is because people say, well, I don't have time. I don't want to. I'm too busy. I'm scared to recognize the plants. Whatever, a million reasons. People are lazy, right? So I made the product. I did it for them. I went and picked the plants. I powdered them and I sold them. I said, here, you, whatever, get it in your body. Do it yourself or let me do it for you. I don't care. Just get it in your body. And then you got to make sure it absorbs properly into your body. You know, and that is bitters. That is, you need bitter things. You need to add that into your diet. Your liver needs to be clean. Your colon needs to be clean. Your kidneys need to be, everything needs to be functioning right. Are you sleeping properly? Are you too stressed? Because stress knocks out your and it's, don't just blame it all on stress. Oh yeah, that's what it is. That's why I'm not doing it, it's stress. Okay, did you know that I turned back to eating meat? That's right, I did. Yep, I did. I turned back to eating meat. 30 years ago, I did it 30 years ago. I did it not for the same reason that some people do it. 30 years ago, I ended a relationship. And it was kind of, you know, when people have relationships, they kind of feel like they're in a kind of a prison, right? You're not free to be yourself. And then when you end the relationship and you go off and you're free, you suddenly feel, finally I can be myself. I can do what I want to do. And it just, everything inside you changes and you start feeling like a kid and you're young again. All the stuff that you were said, no, you can't do that. You start doing it, right? It's just human nature. So when my relationship ended, I had like this little, like, it was almost like party time. And so first thing I did, because I was vegetarian, vegan back then, 30 years ago. And I went to Disneyland, and I had breakfast, having like the American breakfast with the little sausages, the meat sausages and the egg and everything. And the little meat sausages, they were so shriveled up and black and burned, but they tasted so good. You know why? Because I was allowing myself to have them again. And they tasted so good with ketchup on them and everything, you know, and I didn't feel bad. I felt okay. Because it was only one thing, right? And then I kept doing it. I go, well, this is great. This is great. I feel great. So I kept doing it the next day, the next day, and the next day. And after about, 6 months, I started not feeling so good again. After about a year, I was having some serious problems. So it catches up. But the point is, the moment you're free to do what you want to do, and there's no more restrictions, it's amazing how the mind can heal almost anything. You could eat garbage and be better because you just feel better. Anytime you feel better about life, you could eat the worst crap and feel great for a while. And then eventually it catches up to you. Now, meat eaters, people that go back to the vegan and carnivore, they're going to feel good for a while because there's no more restrictions. They just do what they want. Everything is great. They're like, yes, I get to do what I finally want to do. No more people telling me what not to do. I don't have to hold myself back. I can do whatever I want. And you're going to feel good because it just feels good to just do whatever you want. After about a year, you're okay. I mean, come on. The medical studies have already shown this, right? Animal products are fat and cholesterol that clogs your arteries and gives you heart attacks. Down the road, you're asking for a heart attack. I've already lost 3 friends. They weren't doing drugs. They weren't doing anything bad, but they ate a lot of meat. They all died of heart attacks in their 50s. It starts in the 50s. Just look it up. Look up C-reactive protein, IGF-1, mTOR. There's thousands of published medical studies that show why this is not good for you. If you don't die of a heart attack, you're going to die of cancer. Choline, which attracts cancer like a magnet. Eggs are the highest sources of choline. Those of you who go back to eggs. Well, I don't eat meat. I do eggs. That's one of the highest sources of choline. You know how they track cancer in the body? You know how they can find where the cancer is? By tracking choline. Choline attracts cancer like a magnet. And then there's methionine, really, really high in animal products, and methionine feeds the cancer like rocket fuel. You've got the fat and the cholesterol for the heart attacks and the strokes, and then you've got the methionine, the choline, the mTOR, the C-reactive protein, and the IGF-1, which causes cancer. If you don't believe me, go online, look at this, again, thousands of published medical studies that already have shown this over and over and over. So yeah, you can feel better for a while. Because you're not eating the carbs anymore, the refined stuff that you're not supposed to. But that doesn't mean meat is good for you. It doesn't mean it's, you know, and then there's bodybuilders, the all-American muscles, right? The reason people get big muscles, the reason they get big, and there's, and this kind of ties into people who say, well, yeah, but I eat only a grain-fed, organic, pasture, grass-fed. It doesn't matter. A cow has natural hormones naturally that make it grow to be a cow, a 2,000-pound animal. That's made for a cow. Those hormones are not made for humans. If a human eats cow hormones by eating meat or dairy or anything like that, you're going to get those hormones that make a cow grow to be 2,000 pounds. That's why people grow quickly. That's why kids are entering puberty at a very young age. That's why bodybuilders get big muscles quickly. Everything grows. Well, guess what? You're also growing cancer. Anything in you that is alive is going to grow. Oh, I don't even know where I could go on forever. Raw fish. All right. People eat sushi. Well, I don't eat beef. I eat fish. Well, fish, that's one of the best sources of all for what? Parasites, that's right. 1 square inch of raw fish contains over 10,000 parasite larvae. And I'm talking about the 30-foot tapeworms, 30 feet long that grow inside you. Tapeworms, hookworms, all kinds of stuff. And then you say, well, I cook the fish. All right, well, while it's being handled, those parasites are getting all over the food processing area, on the hands of the people that are working it, on the cutting board, everywhere. There are so many reasons that intertwine that people don't take into consideration. It's not a simple answer. It's a complexity of all kinds of things. All right, so what can you do? Well, don't think meat's the answer, or animal products, or dairy. People, if you want phlegm and mucus clogging up your lungs and your digestive tract, drink milk, eat cheese. Cheese is glue. Cheese just glues you up. Eating animal products is not necessarily the answer. Well, let's say you want to try the plant thing. Let's say you want to be healthy. You want to do the right thing. What do? You're afraid to go back. Well, first of all, don't eat the crap. Don't eat the processed food. Nothing that's been baked in an oven, cooked on a stove, killed with high heat. That's why I wrote Heal Yourself 101. The ebook version is free. You can download it at healyourself101.com if you don't want the paperback, although the paperback's nice and shiny. It's beautiful. We also wrote a cookbook. A cookbook that shows you how to make raw vegan versions of the food that you love. Pizza, pasta, Pop-Tarts, creme brulee, bacon, it's all in here. This is what Kara and I eat every day. Now, if it really was that bad, if it wasn't that good for you eating vegan, Kara and I would be in really bad shape. I was vegan already 20 years ago, raw vegan like 10 years ago. If it was that bad, we'd be a mess. We'd be a shriveled up mess, right? We'd be unhealthy. She was doing it most of her life. The problems would definitely be showing up by now. But it's genetic, right? I almost died 3 times when I was younger because I was eating the wrong foods. I was the sickest kid around. People made fun of me. So no, it's not genetic. It is taking responsibility for your own life. And it took me years. I had asthma, I had allergies. I was bleeding when I went to the bathroom. I had mucus and phlegm clogging me up. I couldn't breathe. I whistled when I was breathing because I was so clogged up. I had glasses thicker than the windshield of my car. I had so many problems, and I got rid of them. It took me years to figure it out. That's why I wrote the book. But it was going to a mainly raw, vegan, plant-based diet. But you got to do it right. Again, you can't just go bananas and mangoes and fruit juice. You got to have a balance. You got to have your bitter stuff to help your digestion. You got to have your greens. You got to balance it out. And we show you how to do it and make it taste good. And most people don't know where to start. That's why I created the books that we did to help guide you along the way. Now, remember, you're going to go to the grocery store and you're going to buy all the fruits and vegetables in sight. You're still going to be lacking nutrients. So I told people, okay, then supplement. You got to go out there and add the wild plants to your diet. Go out there and pick the wild plants because they have the nutrients you're lacking. And then a lot of people say, well, I don't want to. I'm too lazy. I live in the city. I'm worried about chemical sprays or dogs peeing on it or whatever. And a million reasons why. I don't want to do it. I'm too afraid. So I said, okay, I'll do it for you. So I went and I hired people to pick the stuff and process it, make it into a powder, so you have the supplements that you can add to your diet, so you got everything. And I did it for myself too, because I was taking it myself. It all started with me. So then people say, oh, you're making products now. Well, now you're in it for money. Anybody who sells products is in it for money. I hardly make any money on these products. I did it because I needed to. I needed to supplement it for myself, and I'm sharing it with people, and I'm not stupid. I'm not going to sell stuff and not make my money back on it. I got to at least pay what it costs, and I got to pay the fulfillment center, everything like that. The real money, the money that I make comes off of investments. I already said this in other videos. That is stuff that's necessary to fill in the gaps of what you're eating that you're buying at the grocery store that was grown in soil that's lacking nutrition, and they're picked unripe, and a lot of them are already lacking many of the nutrients because, again, water is an oxidant. And I mean, I'm trying to tell you what you need, you know, and it's not that. And again, those people who say, oh, vegans need supplements, meaning that veganism isn't a complete. If you were in nature eating the foods that grow off the trees and the plants in nature, then you'd be fine. But the stuff that you buy in the grocery store is lacking. That's why you have to fill in the blanks, because it's not the same as picking a plant right off of a tree. I could go on, but those are the big reasons. Those are like the main reasons why a lot of vegans are not doing well, and why they think they're doing better when they go over to doing meat products. How many of you made it to the end of this video? How many? I'll bet there's a bunch of people who went, oh, I don't like what he's saying. I'm going to another video. People only want to hear what they want to hear. And that's why I'm not very popular on the internet, is because I don't tell people what they want to hear. Eat sugar, eat carbs, eat meat. You know, people only follow the people that tell them what they want to hear. They don't subscribe to people that tell them what they don't want to hear, but that's what they need to hear. So those of you who stuck through to the end and are still kind of smiling and are still kind of like, okay, yeah, this makes sense. Congratulations, you're part of like the 2% or less than 2%, maybe 1% of the people in this world who have the ability to open their minds and understand or comprehend the truth to a certain level. The rest of you are, I'm 56 years old. Do I look sick? Do I look like the typical what does the typical 56-year-old person look like? You know, oh, you're wearing a wig. Well, we already talked about that. No, I'm not wearing a wig. Oh, it's plastic surgery. Oh, yeah, right. That's what makes me look this. That's what gives me this body and makes me look this way, right? That's what gives me my energy, and that's what gives me these arms and this body, and I get to run down the street like a kid. Oh yeah, it's plastic surgery. It's gotta be something. He's cheating somehow. Oh yeah. Maybe I just eat right. Maybe I diet and lifestyle. I actually, since the day, like I said, I've never touched a drop of alcohol, never smoked a cigarette, never did coffee. I tried to always do the right thing. And I'm trying to be sensible. I try to, I'm German. Everything has to be logical. It has to make sense. It's got to be efficient. And I try to follow things that make sense. And I study, and I do years of study. I stay up late at night studying medical journals. I've done research for a lifetime. This book, this is the most extensive edible plant guide in the world for pictures that make sense, that a normal person can understand. It's got colored pictures, and it tells you how to recognize them and treat them. This is years of research. This is a 2-pound book. I want to know the truth, and I try it on myself, and whatever results I find, I share it with you because this works for me. Of course, it's not going to work for everybody because everybody's different. They have different desires, different tastes, different way of looking at the world, different value systems. Don't blame it all on genetics, and I'll get into that. And you can actually break that code. That is a whole nother thing that's coming up soon, but I don't want this video to go on forever. I hope this made some sense. It's not always what you think. Again, it's not necessarily what you take, it's what you stop doing. And a lot of people don't want to think about that. All right, enough of that. I said my bit, and I think I did my job for the day. I'm gonna go now. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye, I gotta go. Here come the yeah buts. Yeah, but I have a friend that I should make a rap song about this. Yeah, but yeah, I have a friend that I have a friend that yeah, but